Assalamu alaikum. Hello, everyone. Thank you for making the time. We are going to get started in maybe 2-3 minutes. So let's just let's give people a little bit more time to come in, and then we will go ahead and get started. Okay, so just give us 2 or 3 minutes, uh, just so that more people have a chance to listen to it from the very beginning. Okay. Okay. I think we are ready to get started here. I think there's quite a few people here already. So yeah, let's go ahead. Can everyone hear me okay? I think most people can hear me. So yeah, the goal of today's broadcast of today's webinar is really to help people figure out how you can save and how you can buy a house. क्योंकि पाकिस्तान में सबसे ज्यादा जो है लोगों को एक कभी कभार मायूसी और बेजारी इस बात पे होती है कि जब वो कमाना शुरू करते हैं तो उनको ये पता चलता है कि अच्छा यार, हमारे जिस घर में मैं रहता हूँ, मेरे माँ बाप का घर जो है उसकी कीमत क्या है, अंदाजन मार्केट में क्या वैल्यू होगी। और जब पता चलता है कि भाई वो मार्केट की वैल्यू ये होगी, और फिर बंदा अपनी तनख्वाह देखता है और कहता है यार इतने पैसे तो मेरे पास कभी नहीं होंगे। इसका मतलब ये कि ये जो घर मेरे माँ बाप का है वैसा घर मैं खुद कभी नहीं खरीद सकता। हालांकि असल में ऐसी बात जरूरी नहीं कि हो। शायद किसी किसी शख्स की जो है ये शायद सिचुएशन हो भी सकती है, लेकिन ज्यादातर जो है वो ये सिचुएशन हमारे ख्याल में लोगों की नहीं होती। यू कैन इन फैक्ट अफोर्ड अ गुड होम, and a home that you might like and a home that you might want to be able to buy, और आप अगर उसमें रहें तो आपको आप मतलब खुश भी हो। ठीक है। तो विद दैट सेड व्हाट आई वुड लाइक इज अ वॉलंटियर। अगर कोई शख्स जो है वो क्योंकि द वे दिस वर्क्स इज इट्स बेटर इफ आई डू दिस फॉर अ स्पेसिफिक पर्सन कि भाई आप मुझे अपनी सिचुएशन बताएं। सर मैं इतना कमा रहा हूँ, मेरी जो है वो ये सिचुएशन है, एंड दिस इज व्हाई आई वांट टू, मैं कितना जो है वो करना चाहता हूँ और क्या मतलब हाउ मच कैन आई अफोर्ड इन टर्म्स ऑफ अ हाउस। ठीक है। तो लेट्स स्टार्ट ऑफ विद दैट। ठीक है। तो डज एनीवन वांट टू वॉलंटियर? कोई शख्स जो है वो अपनी सिचुएशन एज अ केस स्टडी प्रेजेंट करना चाहे। डजंट हैव टू बी योर एग्जैक्ट सिचुएशन। आप जो है वो एक मतलब फर्जी कुछ चीजें भी बता सकते हैं, किसी और की सिचुएशन जो आप जानते हो वो आप बता सकते हैं, एंड वी कैन देन गो थ्रू दैट। और उससे फिर जो है आपको कुछ एक अंदाजा हो जाएगा कि होम बाइंग के बारे में जो है बंदा सोचता किस तरह से है, सोचना किस तरह से चाहिए, और फिर ये कि उसके हिसाब से प्लानिंग क्या करनी चाहिए। दैट इज बेसिकली द गोल हियर फॉर अस टू बी एबल टू अचीव। अच्छा, इससे पहले कि आप कोई वॉलंटियर करें, मैं एक और बात जो है वो ये कहना चाहता हूँ कि Elphinstone's philosophy with respect to investing is, particularly with respect to real estate, is that we believe that real estate is not an investment for young people. We think it's a fine investment, it's fine, safe investment for older people. But if you are below the age of 55, you should probably not be thinking of real estate as an investment. Okay. The vast majority of people are better off investing in either stocks or bonds. And usually, if you are young, you should be investing mostly in stocks. And the vast majority, and so thinking of real estates and specifically plots as a form of investment, in our view, is not the right way to think about it. Acha, so one other thing that I wanted to clarify is that the whole purpose of this conversation is to advise you on how to buy a house that you intend to live in. We are not talking about rental properties. We are not talking about real estate as an investment. And we are not talking about how to buy a piece of real estate for the purposes of renting it out or कुछ इस तरह की कोई बात हम नहीं करना चाह रहे, ठीक है? What we are talking about purely is कि यार मैं एक young professional हूँ. I have a certain middle class income. I want to buy a house. ठीक है, मैं चाहता हूँ कि कभी मेरे नाम पे कोई एक जमीन हो या मेरे नाम पे कोई एक फ्लैट हो, अपार्टमेंट हो जो कि मेरा हो, मेरी मिल्कियत हो. ठीक है, तो उसके लिए जो है that is something that we are trying to sort of encourage people to think about. So anyone want to go through this? I mean, I can also just go through a hypothetical example, but if somebody wants their own situation analyzed, I am more than happy to give the audience a chance to talk. अच्छा, अब लोग जो है वो इतने ज़्यादा नहीं है, तो what I'm going to do is I'm just going to allow everyone to talk. So anyone who wants to talk is free to do so. आप लोगों के automatically muted है, लेकिन if you want to talk, you can just unmute yourself and start talking. ठीक है? जी मारिया, बोलिए.
Okay, so for example, I make about 1 lakh a month with my job, and I
Yeah,
still live with my parents.
yeah.
So how long do you think, or you know, if that's, do you need any more details for your case?
I need a couple of things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my financial planner Excel sheet, and I'm going to start sharing it with the screen. ठीक है? I'm just going to share the screen here. ठीक है? ये screen आप लोगों को नजर आ रही है?
Yes.
अच्छा. Can you give me your rough date of birth? It doesn't have to be exact, just a rough date of birth.
Okay, yeah. October 98.
Okay. October 98. You're quite young. This is very good actually. ठीक है? Let's assume 65 is retirement age. 1 लाख रुपए महीना is your current income. Any other income? कोई bonuses वगैरह कुछ आते हो?
Nope.
अच्छा. When did you start your career?
Last year, I think September 22.
Okay. ठीक है. Initial salary क्या थी?
Initial salary, तो वैसे to be exact, it was 1 lakh 5, और फिर फेब में वो 1 lakh 12 हो गई थी.
Okay. ठीक है. Okay. All right. Age 45. Acha, right now I'm just going to go with a mortgage calculation because that's just easier. ठीक है? Assuming you don't have anything saved up right now. Uh, 20 lakh ka apartment, that's really not much. But that also is assuming you're only saving 4,000 rupees a month to buy a home. ठीक है? Presumably अगर आप जो है, if you want to buy a house, मतलब 1 करोड़ का अगर आपको मतलब फ्लैट या घर कुछ घर खरीदना है, तो आप 20,000 रुपए अगर महीने की सेव करें, you will be able to buy that house by the time you are 45. अच्छा, the problem with Pakistani real estate admittedly is कि it is a little overpriced. ठीक है? Our analysis suggests, अब देखिए मतलब real estate की actual क्या value है, क्या होनी चाहिए, it is a matter of opinion frankly a little bit, but हमने थोड़ा सा analysis किया है इस पे, and our view is कि it is a little bit overpriced. Actually we think it is almost twice the price that it should be. So it takes a little bit of time. ठीक है? Our view is that you should not think about buying a house as something that you will be able to do in your late 20s, early 30s. That's realistically in Pakistan, that does not quite happen. ठीक है? Actually, this is not correct. You are so early in your career कि वो frankly it is not the right. Acha, so yeah, okay, so hold on. Yeah, so we think you should be saving something like around 12,500 rupees a month, and if you save that much, तकरीबन आपको जिस घर की कीमत आज 61 लाख रुपए है, you will be able to buy that by the time you are 45. Now, I'm sure you have a lot of questions, so ask. This is meant to be just a conversation starter. So like just, what type of home would you want to buy? Like, have you ever gone on zameen.com and figured out कि यार ये घर बड़ा अच्छा है, मतलब like what can I buy, what can I not? Where do you live, by the way? What city in Pakistan do you live in?
Karachi.
Acha, so you live in Karachi. Okay. In Karachi, this is probably like a small flat in Bahria town, I'm guessing. 61 लाख में probably. अच्छा, okay, you know what? Let's go to zameen.com right now. ठीक है? Let's look this up. ठीक है? So let's suppose you want to buy और आप maximum price इसकी जो है वो let's say 1 करोड़ रुपए हम रख देते हैं, ठीक है? 1 करोड़ रुपए में what can I buy in Karachi? ठीक है? अच्छा, first of all let's take a look at this. इसमें आप ये देखें, there's actually a lot of properties in Karachi. There's about 3,500 properties in Karachi under 1 crore rupees, which realistically it seems like you can probably afford if you save 20,000 rupees a month. Does 20,000 rupees a month sound like something you can save?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. ठीक है. Give me an example of an area. It doesn't have to be the exact area you want, but is there an area that you like that you would want to live in?
Maybe somewhere near Sharif Faisal. Would that be PCHS, I think?
PCHS. I don't see it here. PCHS को शायद ये किसी और तरीके से रखते हो on that. Let's see. You want to be close to Sharif Faisal. Let's see.
It's
Shah
in
Faisal town is
second column from below 5.
Oh yeah, there is Sharif Faisal last 5.
Yeah.
there we go. Okay, let's look. Acha. Wait, what is the value of the home? Acha, उसने वो हटा दी. Let's go for 1 crore again. ठीक है? Acha. So 8 properties in Shara Faisal. This is a 2-bed 3-bath flat on Shara Faisal right now. 2-bed 2-bath, 2-bed 3-bath, 3-bed 3-bath. These are the kinds of properties you could explore. अच्छा, now key thing to obviously remember is कि आप कहें कि यार आप मुझे कह रहे हैं कि मेरी उम्र जो है अभी, you're relatively young right now. You're what, 25, something like that? Yeah, so you're 25 और आप कह रहे हैं 20 साल बाद जो है आप जो 1 करोड़ रुपए का फ्लैट खरीद सकेंगे. No, I want to emphasize कि हमने जो है प्रॉपर्टी प्राइस अप्रिसिएशन के जो रेट है वो हमने अपने उसमें कैलकुलेशन में दिया हुआ है. वी एक्सप्रेस थिंग्स इन टुडेज टर्म्स बिकॉज मैं अगर आपको बताऊं कि भाई 20 साल बाद इस फ्लैट की कीमत जो है वो आई डोंट नो, लेट्स से 12 करोड़ रुपए है, like would that make any sense to you? Probably not. So everything has to be expressed in today's terms. So that is what we do. We adjust the future price down to today's terms. ठीक है? Actually let's look in the model के मॉडल में कह क्या रहा है वो कि उस वक्त उस जमाने में इसकी प्राइस क्या होगी. उस जमाने में इस घर की प्राइस जो है वो तकरीबन 5 करोड़ रुपए होगी. ठीक है? और ये जो 61 लाख का है, तो 5 करोड़ अगर 61 लाख वाला है तो तकरीबन जो है आप समझ लें 8 करोड़ इसकी फ्यूचर वैल्यू है. ठीक है? 20 years फ्रॉम नाउ जो घर 1 करोड़ का आज है वो 20 साल बाद 8 करोड़ का होगा. लेकिन हम जो है आपको बता रहे हैं कि यार आप 20 साल में जो घर जिसकी वैल्यू उस वक्त 8 करोड़ होगी, जिसकी वैल्यू आज 1 करोड़ है, यू विल बी एबल टू बाय. ठीक है? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
अच्छा, so now how do you achieve this? ठीक है? That is the point where we start to get at where, so essentially what you need to do is you need to invest a fixed amount every single month without fail. ठीक है? आपने एग्जैक्ट मतलब ये 20,000 रुपए महीना, अब आपकी चाहे तनख्वाह बढ़ती चली जाए, इंशाल्लाह आपकी और बढ़ेगी। लेकिन आपने जो है वो यही 20,000 रुपए हर महीने आपने डालते चले जाना है, ठीक है। जस्ट एवरी मंथ यू पुट इन दिस 20,000 रुपीज, सो दैट ओवर टाइम आपके जो खर्चे बढ़ेंगे, योर द अमाउंट दैट यू नीड टू सेव इज गोइंग टू स्टे कांस्टेंट, ठीक है। एंड सो द अमाउंट दैट इज अवेलेबल टू यू फॉर करंट स्पेंडिंग विल इंक्रीज विथ योर इंक्रीज इन सैलरी, क्योंकि बंदा बड़ा होता है, उसकी जिम्मेदारियां बढ़ती चली जाती हैं, लाइक, एंड यू नीड टू टेक दैट इनटू अकाउंट। यंगर पीपल कैन सेव अ हायर portion of their salary compared to older people who have more responsibilities, ठीक है। Now the amounts are higher because you are older and you have a higher income, but percentage wise, when you are younger you can save a higher percentage. So for example, as a person who is basically just starting her career, you are going to be saving something like 20% just for your to buy a house, ठीक है। और अगर आपको किसी पर्पस के लिए सेव करना है वो अलग है। But the point is कि over time this 20% will become a smaller and smaller portion of your salary. मिसाल के तौर पर इंशाल्लाह 3 साल में आपकी तनख्वाह लेट से 2 लाख हो जाती है, आप फिर भी ये 20,000 डाल रही होंगी, but that percentage that you are saving for real estate has come down from 20% to 10%, and inshallah it'll sort of continue to do so over time, ठीक है। अच्छा, so what that means is कि you take this amount, you invest this in a fund. Now if you earn in rupees, we would strongly suggest, given your age, you should invest this money in a stock fund. So the best stock fund that we recommend is क्या कहते हैं UBL का stock fund. So are you comfortable with conventional investments or Islamic investments? What is your preference?
Sharia compliant ones.
Okay, all right. So Al Amin Sharia Stock Fund, UBL का है. Just start putting away 20,000 rupees a month in that fund every month from now on. And if you do that, by the time you hit the age of 45, you will be able to afford to buy a home that is going to look like this, like a 2 to 3 bedroom apartment on Shara Faisal. And this looks like its main Shara Faisal is what we are talking about. Some of this is relatively some of these are relatively smaller, some of these are bigger, but the point is कि what we are trying to give you is a tool to be able to understand कि यार मतलब what can I even consider as affordable to me, ठीक है। Now based on what I have told you, would you be satisfied with this kind of property? This is a subjective opinion. Sorry?
Yeah, I would save more and try to get a better one then.
Okay. How much do you want to, like, चलें ऐसा करते हैं, let's look this up, ठीक है। Let's stay on Shara Faisal, let's increase the amount, ठीक है। 1.5 करोड़ में देखते हैं क्या आता है, ठीक है। Okay. And let's go from highest price to lowest price, ठीक है। अच्छा, ये तकरीबन 1.5 करोड़ है। It's a nicer apartment, but it's basically similar size, 788 square feet, which is not bad. Okay, let's look at it. Let's look at it. Oh, this is under construction. This means इतनी अच्छी तस्वीरें जो है वो अंडर कंस्ट्रक्शन में ही आती हैं. Okay, but decent amenities. Could be interesting.
Also, is there a way to check कि ये कोई गलत property तो नहीं है? Like what happened with Nasra Towers?
Yeah, unfortunately, there isn't a really good way to do that other than to essentially go for something that is already constructed. And frankly constructed by somebody who's a little bit of a more well-known builder. Unfortunately, there's no other way. What we could do is, like, I mean, you could look at something else, like a different area, maybe a slightly better property in a different area. But the point of this exercise is, look, it's not for us to determine कि भाई आपने खरीदना कहाँ है. It is for us to help you figure out कि if I am thinking about what kind of home I want to buy and what kind of lifestyle I will be able to achieve over time, what is the number that I enter here? as the maximum price I can afford. Okay, that is the purpose of this exercise. Acha, one thing that I am going to do is I am going to put into the chat my email address. Okay, so that everyone who wants this model, just email me and I will reply with the model so that you can play around with it yourself. Okay. And actually what I'm going to do is I haven't been able to finish a portion of it, which is where you can decide how much you can save, and it will be able to calculate what you will be able to buy. It will also be able to tell you how much you will be able to buy if you apply for a mortgage versus not applying for a mortgage. So that is another thing that we will be able to have in that model. Okay. Yeah, sorry. Sorry about that, folks. I just went offline a little bit. Aqil Khan Saab, you had a question. Is he on? Is he here? Okay. Anonymous attendee. Let me just go with this. Okay. I started freelancing in 20. Okay. Okay. So yeah. Okay. Anonymous attendee asks, I started freelancing in 2010, invested in stocks, made 1.5 crore from 42 lakhs when I cashed out in 2017. 18, all dividend reinvested during that time. Stocks monthly investment 45 to 75. Bought a house in Beria town. At this point, I think it was the worst thing I did buying a house. I should have stayed invested and rented. Much cheaper to rent. Age 40, house worth 3.5 crore. Currently invested 10 million. Acha, this actually gets to a very important point, which is to think about a house of buying versus renting, the decision of buying versus renting. Now, let me say one thing. In Pakistan, based on how our rental market is, this is not true of every country in the world, but it is true in Pakistan. Renting will always be cheaper than buying. Always. Okay. Your monthly mortgage payment, no matter how low interest rates go, no matter how good a price you get, उसी घर पे अगर उसी घर को अगर आपने किराए पे उठाना है तो वो आपको महीने का किराया बहुत कम पड़ेगा बनिस्बत घर खरीदने के। घर खरीदने की फिर लॉजिक क्या है? Logic honestly is less. There is a financial logic to it, but we will get to that in a bit. Frankly, it is the non-financial logic that is actually more important, which is at some point you want to own your own home. ठीक है. Now अब ये जिन्होंने ये सवाल भेजा है अपना, he's currently 40 years old. He's doing quite well for himself, mashallah, but you know, he feels like he doesn't like the house that he's in, and he feels like he would have been better off invested. um, Financially speaking, that's correct, but then उसमें फिर you have to have a very specific idea in mind कि यार मैं फिर इसका मतलब है कि जब तक मैं रिटायर नहीं होता मैं घर नहीं खरीदूंगा और मैं किराए पे रहूंगा. You have to be comfortable with that decision, and you have to be comfortable कि यार मुझे किराए पे मिलता रहेगा घर, और अगर मालिक मकान ने मुझसे कहा कि भाई आप ये घर खाली करें, तो I am willing to undertake the inconvenience of that in order to be able to save more. अच्छा, let me tell you one other thing. ये जो हमने जो मॉडल मिसाल के तौर पर मारिया के लिए हमने ये जो सेट किया था, जिसमें हमने कहा था कि भाई होम बाइंग एज आपकी 45 होनी चाहिए. 45 हमने इसलिए रखी है क्योंकि 20-year mortgage is usually the maximum mortgage that you can get from a normal bank in Pakistan. So if you wanted a mortgage, अच्छा, और वो mortgage cannot be given to somebody over the age of 65. So basically यानी कि आपने you have to pay off the full mortgage by the time you hit age 65. So means कि if you buy at 45, you will be able to sell off, you will be able to pay down the full mortgage by the time you hit age 65. So that is why we say कि अगर आपने mortgage लेनी है तो you want to buy by the age of 45 to lower your monthly mortgage payment. Having said that, it is also true कि if you decide कि यार मैंने खरीदना ही नहीं है for the entire duration of my career, and you decide कि यार I'm just going to keep on saving this. मिसाल के तौर पर मारिया से हमने कहा था कि यार आप ये जो 20,000 रुपए महीना आप जो है वो सेव करना शुरू करें. If she kept on saving that amount until the age of क्या कहते हैं 65 rather than 45. Let me just do a quick calculation to see how much she would have if she did that. So let's suppose she has 0 right now. She deposits 20,000 rupees per month, and she has about 40 years. Okay. Inflation adjusted returns are about 12% per year. Yeah, she would have, उनके पास होते तकरीबन 24 करोड़. ठीक है. अब 24 करोड़ में तो बड़ी अच्छी प्रॉपर्टी आ सकती है. ठीक है. And you know that's actually no, sorry, the relevant exchange the relevant amount to do that, sorry, not 24 करोड़ नहीं होगा, सॉरी 14 करोड़ उनके पास होगा, और 14 करोड़ में अच्छी खासी प्रॉपर्टी आ जाती है इन ऑलमोस्ट एनी पार्ट ऑफ कराची. आई मीन यू कैन बाय अ रियली नाइस हाउस फॉर योरसेल्फ इन दैट मच. ठीक है, इन मोस्ट पार्ट्स ऑफ द सिटी, एंड फ्रैंकली इन मोस्ट पार्ट्स ऑफ पाकिस्तान. ठीक है, बट व्हाट वुड दैट मीन? इट वुड मीन कि आज से 40 साल बाद जाके आपके पास ये घर आएगा. ठीक है, एंड दैट मेक्स अ डिफरेंस. ठीक है. You have to live with the idea that for the entire duration that I am an earning professional, I will not own the home that I live in. I will be a renter. Now, nothing wrong with that. Okay? But you have to understand what your own preference is. Okay? Do I want to be a renter and buy a really nice house at the end of my career? Or do I want to mid-career buy a house that is not as nice maybe, but I will be a home owner कि यार मेरी अपनी मिल्कियत होगी. ठीक है, इट्स अ पर्सनल प्रेफरेंस थिंग. ठीक है, एंड इसमें फिर जो है ना द मैथ इज नॉट रियली द इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग, इट्स अबाउट व्हाट यू वैल्यू. ठीक है, डू आई वांट टू बी एन ओनर अर्ली, or do I want the best house possible? If you want the best house possible, wait as long as you can. ठीक है, if you want to be a homeowner early, then plan on getting a mortgage and buy as quickly as you can. That is what I would say. Acha. Aqil Saab has asked a question. One of the models I'm thinking out is to mortgage a property and give it out on rent. Pay the mortgage with the rent unless I own it completely. How does that plan sound? यार आकिल साहब, I will say this. खैर आजकल तो रेट्स बहुत ही ज्यादा हुए हुए, बट इवन जब ये रेट्स कम भी हो जाएंगे तब भी By the way, where do you live? Can you turn on your audio? It'll be faster if we can talk on audio. Okay, I think he's not on right now, actually. तो कहने का मकसद ये कि actually, sorry, there are more people who have joined. अच्छा, आखिल साहब, sorry, I had turned off your audio. जी, आप बोलिए.
जी, अस्सलाम वालेकुम रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातुहू. I live in Karachi, Maleer Kent.
जी. अच्छा, यार मैं आपको बता दूं, there are almost no places in Karachi where the rent you would get would be more than your monthly mortgage payments, even when the rates go down. आजकल तो खैर बहुत ही चढ़े हुए, मतलब कोई 25-30% पे अगर मिले भी, जो कि आजकल मिल नहीं रही है मॉर्गेज, ठीक है. आपको कम से कम 2-3 साल इंतजार करना पड़ेगा, रेट्स कम होंगे, उसके बाद फिर आप ये कर सकेंगे. उसके बाद जाके आपको ये आप ये कर सकेंगे, किराए पे चढ़ाएंगे. मिसाल के तौर पर मैं आपको जस्ट टू गिव यू रफ एग्जांपल, एक घर जो है मिसाल के तौर पर अगर आप बहरिया टाउन कराची में लेते हैं, ठीक है, उसकी मंथली मॉर्गेज पेमेंट जो है, अगर आपको अच्छा आजकल जो है वो आई विल गिव यू एन एग्जांपल. हमारा घर जो है वो कितने का, अच्छा let me just do a quick calculation. ठीक है, I own my brother owns a house, ठीक है, in Bahria Town Karachi right now. उसकी वैल्यू तकरीबन 2.25 करोड़ है, ठीक है. 2.25 करोड़ रुपए पे अगर आप जो है वो 75% मॉर्गेज लेते हैं, ठीक है, 17.5 million rupees multiplied by 0.75 equals, अच्छा 13 million, 1,31,25,000 रुपए कि आपने मॉर्गेज लेनी है, ठीक है. और फिर इंटरेस्ट रेट, लेट्स सपोज कि आपको बड़े अच्छे रेट्स मिल जाते हैं, 12% तक रेट नीचे आ जाता है और आपने ये ले लिया, ठीक है. आपकी मंथली मॉर्गेज पेमेंट जो है ना, जस्ट मंथली मॉर्गेज पेमेंट जो है वो 1,45,000 रुपए होगी, ठीक है. उस पे आज उस घर पे आजकल हमको किराया जो है वो 35,000 रुपए महीना मिल रहा है, ठीक है सर. इन मोस्ट पार्ट्स ऑफ कराची आपको इसी किस्म की कैलकुलेशन मिलेगी. To buy a house and mortgage in Pakistan almost never makes sense. Almost never. आपकी out of pocket cost अच्छी खासी होगी. Now, you might decide कि यार what I am getting is basically a subsidized house, ठीक है. और अगर आप अपने घर में खुद रह रहे हैं, ठीक है, वालिदैन के साथ आप रह रहे हैं, स्पेस वहां पे अच्छी है, and you don't feel the need to have your own home, your own separate house, maybe it still makes sense. ठीक है, basically what you are doing is you're getting the early part of your mortgage subsidized by a renter, और बाद में फिर जब आप जो है वो आपकी इनकम थोड़ी बढ़ जाती है, मॉर्गेज पेमेंट आपकी कोई इतनी ज्यादा बढ़ेगी नहीं, लेकिन ये कि एज अ परसेंटेज ऑफ योर इनकम इट विल बी लेस एंड यू विल बी एबल टू गो एंड लिव इन दैट हाउस. दैट्स पॉसिबल, बट यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड कि आउट ऑफ पॉकेट कॉस्ट होगी, और थोड़ी बहुत नहीं, अच्छी खासी होगी as a percentage of the overall payment. ठीक है, रेंट से आपका, it is rare to find a property that will cover even 50% of your mortgage in rent. क्योंकि पाकिस्तान में इंटरेस्ट रेट्स बहुत हाई है और प्रॉपर्टी प्राइसेस बहुत हाई है. It's just a different calculation. This kind of thing sometimes works in the US, although आजकल US में भी जो है ये calculation अच्छी खासी out हो गई है. It's not quite working out even here. लेकिन ये कि पाकिस्तान में तो it has not, I have 20 years of historical data. I cannot find a single time when this was feasible.
Thank you so much for this. I just wanted to know that if we start small, maybe studio apartment kind of a thing, maybe just for 3 million, 4 million, maximum 5 million, then would this plan still work? And my contribution goes down in this or not?
Your contribution will obviously go down. ठीक है, जाहिर है, मतलब वो तो जब अगर आप प्रॉपर्टी वैल्यू कम करेंगे तो जाहिर है मॉर्गेज की पेमेंट भी कम जाएगी, तो टोटल मॉर्गेज कम होगी, और किराया उसमें भले कम आएगा, लेकिन ये कि एक देयर इज अ मैक्सिमम कैप ना, कि भाई मतलब इससे ज्यादा आपकी मॉर्गेज हो नहीं सकती, ठीक है। मिसाल के तौर पर लेट्स टेक क्या, गिव मी अ वैल्यू कि आपकी क्या होगी, 50 लाख लगाऊं?
Yes, 5 million.
ठीक है। अच्छा, अ, ठीक है। अ, हाँ, तो टोटल मॉर्गेज पेमेंट उसकी आपकी हो जाएगी तकरीबन 41,000, ठीक है, 42,000 रफली, ठीक है, व्हेन रेट्स कम डाउन। आजकल तो खैर बहुत ही ज्यादा होगा, मैं नॉर्मल जमाने की बात कर रहा हूँ जब रेट्स जो है वो 10-12% तक आ जाते हैं, ठीक है। 12% इज एक्चुअली अनअचीवेबल टाइम, जब नॉर्मल टाइम्स आते हैं तो दैट इज गोइंग टू बी योर मॉर्गेज पेमेंट, मॉर्गेज इंटरेस्ट रेट, ठीक है। अच्छा, बाय द वे, इस्लामिक बैंक्स, they call it something else. I still think of it as interest rate, even though frankly I am a firm believer के जो Islamic mortgage होती है, it is genuinely different from a conventional mortgage, but just from the sake of financial mathematics it's easier for me to call it interest rate. That doesn't mean कि it is interest, I'm just using the same terminology for both, ठीक है। अच्छा, so 41,000 तकरीबन जो है आपकी इसमें इंटरेस्ट रेट, इसमें आपका जो है वो बनेगा। लेकिन किराया इसमें अच्छा खासा कम आएगा। आई डाउट कि इसमें जो है आपको 10-12 हज़ार से ज्यादा का जो है आपको किराया मिलेगा इस किस्म के फ्लैट में।
Just for my expectation, based on my working, maybe 20,000 is the max that I would get. Max.
हाँ, and
It
depends by
either
the way
would
on,
be 18 or 20, but
हाँ,
it's still, I guess, it would still be manageable for me then
हाँ,
to like
हाँ.
contribute in this.
Yes, but here's my question, why are you doing this? Is the purpose just to save?
Yes, just to keep up with the inflation that will keep on increasing day by day, year by year, because that's
but,
how the
but
world works.
but then why not invest in stocks or something else? How old are you, by the way?
I'm 33.
Yeah, dude, you're
Yeah.
fine. What do you do for a living?
I'm a software engineer.
Okay, all right, do you do any freelance work?
Uh, like I have 2 or 3 side hustles that I'm doing apart from
do
my
you,
regular job.
do you earn in dollars?
Yes, a
Yeah,
little bit.
भाई सीधा सीधा खोलो यूएस डॉलर इन्वेस्टमेंट अकाउंट हमारा, ठीक है, Elphinstone US, download the app, create your account. It's a brokerage account, it'll be invested in the US. Invest your money, invest your US dollars in stocks. 100% अपनी जो US डॉलर अर्निंग है उसको स्टॉक्स में लगा दो, और जो रुपए में अर्निंग आ रही है वो use that for spending. That's it, that's your best spend, that's your best saving. Why are you putting your money in this kind of thing where आपके जो है वो like liability भी आ रही है और papers भी वो हो रहे हैं और सब कुछ हो रहा है? Why take that headache?
The I don't know if we have time. I just wanted to explain why I chose this option as well.
Yeah.
Basically, about your app, it's already there on my phone. I
Okay.
was about to register it out. Of course, I am exploring that option as well.
Yeah.
But just to keep things under my own hand over here as well, I was
Yeah.
just trying to diversify this investment.
ठीक है.
Apart from that, one of the major concerns that I'm having is that the world is going bizarre right now, right? So I'm not sure if the stocks world would also keep up with the situation that's going on around the world. Would you be able to guide me on that?
Look, I think you're right that there is a period of uncertainty, but my point is कि देखो अभी जो period of uncertainty है उसमें पाकिस्तान की जो इस वक्त हालत है, realistically getting a property on a mortgage is not possible right now. मतलब बहुत मुश्किल होगा, और अगर हो भी जाए तो वो इतनी एक्सपेंसिव मॉर्गेज होगी, आई वुड हाईली रेकमेंड दैट यू नॉट डू दैट। उसकी कॉस्ट इज जस्ट टू मच, यू आर पेइंग वे टू मच इन इंटरेस्ट फॉर दैट टू बी अ वर्थवाइल ट्रांजैक्शन फॉर यू, ठीक है। So I just and regardless of whether it's conventional or Islamic, जो cost of financing total इतनी आ जाएगी, क्योंकि आजकल जो है वो गवर्नमेंट बॉन्ड पे इंटरेस्ट रेट जो है वो 23% है, तो वो मॉर्गेजेस पे तो वो 26-27%, 30% से कम की तो बात करेंगे ही नहीं आपसे। That's a lot, यार, that's a lot to pay per year. And just to give you this context, ये जो आप लेट्स से आप 12.5 लाख रुपए आप डाउन पेमेंट डालते हैं और 50 लाख की प्रॉपर्टी, ठीक है, लेट्स अप्लाई द 25% इंटरेस्ट रेट, ठीक है, योर मंथली पेमेंट गोज अप टू 80,000 रुपीज।
Doubles it.
20,000 रुपए आपको जो है अगर मिल रहा है ठीक है, मैक्सिमम किराया, ठीक है, फ्रैंकली इट्स अ लिटिल बिट अग्रेसिव आई थिंक, ठीक है, लेकिन चलो आप लगा दो 20,000, ठीक है, डबल द पेमेंट, ठीक है, 80,000 रुपए आपके महीने का आउटफ्लो है, यानी कि आपके आउट ऑफ पॉकेट, आउट ऑफ जो कैश जो आपका जा रहा है, दैट इज 60,000 रुपीज. दैट्स अ लॉट यार, दैट्स अ लॉट.
Totally agree on this. Just one last thing, if
Yeah.
I'm allowed to. It's just that I wanted to know that, of course, what I have learned about investing is that real estate is the safe haven for earning more money, right? Of course, stocks is as well. Everyone knows about the second best investor of the world. So, I just wanted to know that what's your projection that what kind of return I would get if I invest in the US stocks? Take $1,000 or so.
Yeah, and I have to be very careful because past results are not a guarantee of future outcomes, but historical average of US stocks is between 10 to 12% per year. And it's quite consistent for the last. If you are a long-term investor in stocks, somebody like you're 33 years old, the vast majority of your savings should be long-term. थोड़ी बहुत आपके पास जो है, you should have as basically we think that 3 months of salary should be your short-term cash reserves. Always keep that in Pakistan. Always keep that in something where you can quickly access it, ideally through an ATM card. So keep that in short-term cash reserves. Everything else, most of what you need should be long-term savings. ठीक है, long-term अगर आप save कर रहे हैं, US stocks are yielding you between 10 and 12% in USD. ठीक है, so you are protected against currency depreciation. Hi, sorry about that. Is everyone still here? Sorry, I got disconnected. Okay, so let me just quickly share a file here. Now let me just share something with you. Okay. Okay, can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. So you're 33 years old. Let's say you have about 32 years left to work. You're going to retire at the age of 65. Okay. So if you just save $200 a month, okay, and you get the 12% per year rate that US stocks are yielding, and you just save $200 a month, just $200 a month, not much more than that, okay, you're looking at $750,000 by the time you retire. It's a pretty substantial amount of money to have. I mean, I know if I had that kind of money right now, I'd be very comfortable in cash, okay. And the thing is, like the thing with stock funds is, like your money's not locked in. Okay.
I sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Because ये जो एक चीज है ना, वो मुझे हमेशा तंग करती है, जो मैं बहुत से लोगों से मिलता हूँ. Because as I said, I have 2-3 side hustles as well. और मेरे पास investors भी हैं. I introduce you as well over there, but still the thing is कि जो वो मुझे बोलते हैं, जो और मुझे भी फिर वो बात समझ आती है कि यार, the projection that I'm seeing right now, let's say it's $250,000 right now, right? Would that be enough at that time when I'm 65, or would they equal to like around
So let's adjust it. So the long-term US inflation rate,
of
the
exactly.
long-term US inflation rate is about 2%. Okay, so let's take this down to 10%. Okay. So what we have now done is we have inflation adjusted this. Okay. Let's go to year 32. Okay. 533,000 equivalent of today. अगर आज आपके पास $5 lakh हो, how would you feel about that?
Of course.
For
What a-
just $200 a month.
Hmm.
Okay.
Oh.
So you're absolutely correct. We firmly believe in inflation adjustment. Okay. This is the purchasing power of that amount of money. Because US में inflation इतनी ज़्यादा नहीं होती है. This is a one-off situation where last year was a high inflation year, but even now it's coming down. US में inflation is generally a relatively low phenomenon. Okay. Long-term average of US inflation is 2%. Okay. So even over a long period of time, it doesn't. The dollar tends to retain its value.
Yep, I totally agree with that because I have seen the stats that once people have invested right $1,000 in Apple 20 years back, they would be millionaires right now. So
Yeah.
that's compatible, of course.
Okay. So this is the inflation adjusted value. Okay. This is just to give you an idea of what's going on. And obviously like that money in rupees, like that would be then in US dollars. And then if you're still staying in Pakistan, you're spending in rupees, you have a pretty comfortable life.
Yeah, exactly. And would this thing would also be shared with us, or is that the only
I can also share this as well. I can include it as part of one file.
Okay, sure.
Make this a thing. Okay. Akhil, any other questions? Because we have a couple of others.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this time.
Nice. Okay. Taha Nemat, what is your opinion on investing in PSX versus NYSE at present? At present, I actually think that the Pakistan Stock Exchange is about as low as it's going to get. इतनी गिरी हुई है, इतनी पिटी हुई है, इतनी मजलूम है कि अब और गिरने की गुंजाइश कम है. ठीक है. So I think that its best days are ahead, hopefully. So I'm quite bullish on the Pakistan Stock Exchange overall. I will tell you that in the long run, PSX and US stocks, it kind of depends on what period you're looking at. Sometimes the US outperforms Pakistan, but sometimes Pakistan actually ends up outperforming the US. So on balance, I would say it really depends. The way we say it is that there isn't a clear advantage for one market over the other, in our opinion. Okay. The Pakistan Stock Exchange is more volatile, so there is more risk, but there is also a relatively the rate of return is not bad. The US market has a lower risk, and the rates of return are pretty good. The rate of return on the PSX, by the way, in USD adjusted terms tends to be slightly higher or slightly lower, not much difference between the US and Pakistan, depending on what time period. Sometimes the US is much higher, sometimes the US is much lower. Well, not much lower, but like lower. So the way we recommend you think about this is your dollar savings, your dollar earnings should have dollar savings. Your rupee earnings should have rupee savings. Don't try to convert currencies just for the purposes of saving. We discourage that because the hassle is not always worth it, in our opinion, of converting currencies. If you have US dollars and a US dollar earning, you should absolutely invest that entirely in the US market. You shouldn't convert that to PKR and invest it in the PSX. On the other hand, if you have PKR earning, don't go through the hassle of trying to find dollars from somewhere and then like converting that and then sending that to the US for the purposes of investing. Keep the currency separate, invest in each separately. That's how we think about this. Acha. Umair Ilyas and Waqas Tariq have basically a somewhat related question, so I'm going to address both simultaneously. Umair Ilyas asks how to invest in US stocks from Pakistan. We will obviously advertise our product, which is Elphinstone US, which is our app. It is a fully licensed and registered. We are a registered investment advisor with the United States Securities and Exchange Commission. We are also, our Pakistan company is licensed with the Securities and Exchange Commission of Pakistan as a securities advisor. So everything is fully legally protected, and you would have an investment account. You can just download our app, Elphinstone US. It's available on Android. It's available on iOS. The sign-up process is fully through the app. And you would be able to sign up, and it's a fully registered account in your own name. So it's not in our name, it's in your own name, and your individual account is insured for up to $500,000, which means कल को हम दिवालिया हो जाए, हमारा ब्रोकर भी दिवालिया हो जाए, आपके पैसे आपको अमेरिका की हुकूमत वापस दे देगी. What they will do is they will come to us. They literally want to know where I physically live, okay, so that they can come and seize my computer, so that they can have access to the records and figure out कि यार इस उमैर साहब के या वकास साहब के अकाउंट में इतना बैलेंस था. वो आके फ्राइडे की दोपहर को मेरा कंप्यूटर सीज करेंगे और मंडे की सुबह तक आपके अकाउंट में पैसे पहुंचा देंगे. ठीक है. So I like to say कि like you need to trust us, but only a little bit, because the US government has your back a little bit. SIPC, which is a government facilitated company. It's technically not a state owned company. So I like to emphasize that, but it is a facilitated by US Congress. So there's that. Acha, if you invest in the US via Elphinstone, how do you transfer funds? You don't need to have a US bank account, although it helps. You can have a Payoneer account or a Wise account, which give you virtual USD accounts. उसके अंदर मसला ये होता है कि you cannot transfer money from a rupee account to a dollar account. So you need to already have dollar earning that you receive in those accounts, Payoneer or Wise, and then you can invest that money into Elphinstone accounts. The issue is, so you can also have a US dollar bank account in Pakistan, and we can accept a check deposit from that. So if you have, for example, आपका HBL में US dollar account है, अगर आप उसकी अगर आपके पास checkbook है, you write a check to us, to Elphinstone US, ठीक है? And we will send you that information once you open up an account. You write a check to us and mail it to us. We will be able to cash that check. It takes a little bit of time. Usually takes 2 to 3 weeks to cash the check internationally, but it works. And then your money is transferred into your investment account, and you will be able to invest according to that money will be invested. अब उस पाकिस्तानी बैंक में डॉलर अकाउंट में आपने पैसे कैसे डालने हैं? I used to have a US dollar account at HBL where I used to buy currency from the open exchanges and deposit it into that bank account, and they used to accept that deposit. I don't know if that's still possible. It's been some time since I did that. But if it is, you could do it that way. Again, we highly encourage people कि यार अगर आपके रुपए में savings है, keep it in rupees, invest it in rupees. If you have US dollars, keep it in dollars, invest it in dollars. That's how we recommend it. Acha. Aqil Saab, hope none of my investments will be in a non-Sharia compliant investment. Yes. Okay. So there are 2 ways in which you can use the Elphinstone account. One is you can say, yeah, I know enough about stocks. I am going to invest my money on my own. In that case, the responsibility for finding out whether or not the stock you are investing is Sharia compliant or not rests with you. Okay? You have to then do the research yourself and figure out, okay, is this Sharia compliant or not? If you decide to go for the automated option, you say, yeah, I don't know much about the US. I don't know much about investing. I just am going to give you this money. I'm going to put it in this investment account, and I want a fully diversified portfolio on my behalf. We will ask you a couple of questions. We will ask you, do you want a conventional investment or do you want Sharia compliant investment? And we will ask you, yeah, is this a long-term saving? Is this a short-term saving? Acha, by the way, even if we ask you long-term or short-term, there's no lock-in period. आप long-term investment हमारे साथ डालें और कहें कि यार मुझे कल वापस चाहिए, हम दे देंगे आपको, but just it helps us understand कि यार आपका portfolio, आपका पैसा जाना कहाँ चाहिए. Long-term investment will be mostly stocks, ठीक है? Short-term investment will be mostly bonds, ठीक है? And in the middle, it will be a combination of the two, ठीक है? So if you pick Islamic, 100% of your money will go to Sharia compliant investments in the US. Acha. The S&P 500, just like the KSE 100 index is the index that tracks the 100 largest stocks in listed on the Pakistan Stock Exchange, there is the S&P 500, which tracks the 500 largest stocks listed on the US exchanges. S&P, which is the company that creates this S&P 500 index, has created an S&P 500 Islamic index as well. So what they do is they take the 500, they remove the companies that don't conform to international Sharia standards. And by the way, the international Sharia standards are set up by the international body AAOIFI, which is based out of Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. Unke standards wo apply karte hain us pe. So as of last I checked, 259 out of the 500 are Sharia compliant and 241 are not. So they remove the 241 and वो उसका index बना देते हैं. उस index के ETFs होते हैं. So if you say you want to invest in Sharia compliant only, we can do that because there are ETFs that track just the Islamic index. ठीक है. उसके अलावा for bonds, US government bonds are obviously not Sharia compliant. So what we do is we would invest that money on the bond side in investment grade sukuks, investment grade dollar denominated sukuks, mostly Islamic banks and utility companies in Malaysia and the Middle East that have issued dollar denominated bonds. Unki jo hai wo uske andar invest ho jata hai. They're all investment grade. Okay? So that is where your investment would go if you pick the Islamic option. If you pick the conventional option, your bond investment would go into US government bonds, short-term US government treasury bonds, and your stocks would go into mostly the S&P 500, including the full index, not just the Islamic companies. Okay? So that's how that would work. Okay.
Also, there was one more part to it.
Yeah.
If I will have all the visibility and which stocks is my money being invested or not.
Yes, so you will be able to see which ETF. अब उस ETF के अंदर क्या कौन से stocks हैं. Every quarter they will send you an update with the full financial statements that show that in your email, where they will show कि यार ये stocks हैं that your money is invested in. So that is how that works. Yes, you will have full visibility into that. Acha. Acha, Taha Saab asking, when are you adding Face ID to the app? It's on our product roadmap. We don't have a specific timeline on that yet, but just know that yes, that is something that we are hoping to add at some point to our app. Waqas Tariq Saab asks, will this be a US bank account in my name? Acha. It is not a bank account, it is a brokerage account. Okay. So what that means is you can invest in anything that is listed on a US exchange URL. You will be able to invest in that. It is not a bank account, and as a result, it can. If the money is invested, it can potentially lose value. Also, it's not very easy to we can't use it as you can't use it as a transaction account. Okay, so it's purely an investment account. I will say we are working on trying to offer bank accounts, but that is not something that we have right now. As and when that becomes available, we will obviously be able to do that. So yeah, just hope that answers your question. Any other questions? We are coming up on time, and I know we lost a few minutes because I had sort of internet troubles, but so we'll stick around for a little bit longer, but yeah, let me know. Any other questions? Last couple of minutes. Okay. All right. In that case, oh, sorry.
Yeah. So if there are no other questions, I just wanted to ask. I don't know if this is the right time or even if it's a right question or not, but there are some stocks like QQ and all which have multiple stocks packed gel together in a single stock, right?
Yes.
So
ETFs.
would that, yeah. So that would also be visible to us, like what kind of QQs are there and all?
Yes, so we help invest your money primarily through ETFs, exchange traded funds, and the exchange traded funds, like, you will then receive on a quarterly basis कि उस ETF के अंदर कौन से stocks हैं, that is also going to be something that is going to be emailed to you on a quarterly basis. On a daily basis, you'll be able to see which ETF is in your portfolio, and on a quarterly basis, you will see what is that? Which is the one? Which are the stocks that are in that ETF? Okay. So that is how that would work.
Sure. And the last question from my side, I don't know if it was answered earlier, that what are your charges in this or
We
these
we
things?
charge an annual fee of 1% per year. So there's no trading fee, there's no fund transfer fee or anything like that, but there is a fee for investing overall, like 1% of the average account balance per year. So that is our charges, and that's all inclusive. It includes everything. Nothing. There will be no other charges beyond that.
And they are deducted
Monthly. Yeah, from your funds. तो अब अगर आपके account में cash balance नहीं है, so what it'll do is it'll just create a debit balance कि भाई जब cash आएगा तो ये deduct कर लेना. But yeah, so we won't like sell your stuff in order to get our fees. We'll just wait for there to be more cash, and then the fee will be deducted. ठीक है? अच्छा. Reason asking about bank account is easy to transfer funds from any freelancer sites directly to a US bank account. Yes, I know, and that's what we're trying to do. So right now, we have talked to Payoneer, by the way. So if you're using Payoneer, you can invest your money directly into from your Payoneer wallet into Elphinstone and then withdraw back into Elphinstone. When you withdraw your funds, first it's a two-step process for withdrawal. First, you have to sell whatever portfolio you have. ठीक है, whatever portion of your portfolio you want to sell, वो transaction settle होता है, उसमें 2 दिन लगते हैं. उसके 2 दिन के बाद फिर then you go back into the app and you say, okay, now withdraw this cash, and then that cash goes into your bank account. You have to have told us the bank account in which you want your money withdrawn when you sign up. ठीक है? If you haven't told us that and we receive a withdrawal request, we will then ask you कि भाई किस बैंक अकाउंट में आपके भेजना है. We can accept a Payoneer wallet into which you can send it, but not your email address. We would need the full bank account information in order to send that money into your Payoneer wallet. वो Payoneer की website पे होती है. You can look that up, how to get that, and any other US account at all. अच्छा. And then if you don't have a USD account or you've somehow managed to send money to us, we can also accommodate PKR withdrawals. It's a little bit harder for us. Frankly, it takes a little bit longer, but we can in fact accommodate PKR withdrawals to a Pakistani bank account. So we would always be able to accommodate a withdrawal. ठीक है? अच्छा, so there's that. So that's the process for withdrawal. What is the average yearly returns of the S&P 500 through Elphinstone? The average returns on the conventional and frankly Islamic, maybe there's not much of a difference. Over the last 10 years का जो हमारा जो model portfolio है, it has yielded net of our fees. तो वो जो 1% fees है, उसके deduct होने के बाद the average annual returns have been 11.7% per year for the past 10 years. Okay. That's the model portfolio that we sell. Obviously, we have not been in business for 10 years, but there is a model portfolio that we have constructed, and uske historical returns, you can see those, and that is 11.7% net of fees. Okay. So after you have paid the fees. Acha, okay. Is there any fees on the cash we keep in the app? So the fees that we charge is on the total amount that is in the Elphinstone account. Okay, we don't make a distinction between stocks, cash, वगैरह. It's just a total fee. Okay, so there's that. There isn't a differentiated rate based on what you are invested in. What is the minimum dividend amount? strongly recommend that you do not invest in the United States for dividends, because dividend is the only thing on which the US government will deduct a tax on foreign nationals, and it is a 30% tax, और US में dividends कोई इतने ज़्यादा होते भी नहीं है. So unless you've got hundreds of thousands of dollars, मतलब आपको नाम निहाद जो है चिल्लड़ आएगा आपके पास dividend में, और उसके ऊपर टैक्स भी कटेगा 30%. Strongly recommend that you do not invest in the US for the purposes of dividend cash flow. Invest for the purposes of capital gains. अगर आपको डिविडेंड चाहिए पाकिस्तान में रखें पैसे. Minimum amount of dividend that can be processed. I mean, banks can process a transaction of even 1 cent. That's not the issue. But just it's not like you should think about investing in the US differently from the way you think about investing in Pakistan. Monthly returns is not a thing that you should be thinking about for any kind of investing, frankly. Unless you are retired, you should not be thinking about monthly returns or quarterly dividends or anything like that.
I had one more question regarding the platform.
Yeah.
If you can just guide us more about the security of the platform, how secure it is, what certifications are there in place, and all.
Acha. So in terms of our licensing, so we are a registered investment advisor with the United States Securities and Exchange Commission. If you go to our website, elphinstone.us, you can actually see a link to our registration information that is directly on the sec.gov website. Okay? So we are fully licensed by the US government to offer this service. We offer the brokerage accounts through a broker partner called Alpaca Securities. उनकी भी जो licensing information है in the US, brokers are licensed through something called FINRA, which is the Financial Institutions Regulatory Authority. उसकी you can go onto the FINRA website and you can see Alpaca's information as well. ठीक है? अच्छा. So that means that every single investment account of yours is insured by the SIPC, which is the Securities Investor Protection Corporation, for up to $500,000. अच्छा. Pakistan में we are a licensed entity. We are licensed by the Securities and Exchange Commission of Pakistan as a securities advisor. Basically, if you encounter a problem with us, you can just put in an online complaint with the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, और उन्होंने हमारी जिंदगी आजाद कर देनी. तो I will have nowhere to hide. So
would they even cater foreign nationals like us?
There is an explicit statement on all US government websites. There is no distinction between a foreign national and a US citizen when it comes to financial accounts in the United States. You are provided the exact same protection under US law that anyone sitting inside the United States is. That is exactly what we want to bring. Because we comply with the full US law, it doesn't matter who our client is. Okay? They treat us as a US entity that has to provide that same level of protection to everyone.
Okay, sure. Thank you. Also, taking the security part further, I wanted to know that how secure is the platform itself? Like, is it deployed on AWS? Do you have SOC 2 compliance and all, right?
It is AWS. It is SOC 2 compliant. So we have all of those. We are required to have those, and so all of our platform conforms to a wide range of security compliance standards that ensure that the platform is quite secure from a technical perspective as well.
Thank you.
Any other questions? We are now running quite late, but any other questions, we are more than happy to continue answering.
One more.
Sure.
Sorry, so many
No
questions.
worries.
Is there any kind of a referral program that you have that maybe we join in more investors and we get some affiliate or something?
We are working on that, and we will announce that very, very soon. But yes, that is in the works. It's not there yet, but it's in the works. Inshallah, we will announce that very soon. Okay. All right. Anything else? Okay. All right. Thanks, everyone. Really appreciate your time. This was an incredibly lively discussion. Had a lot of fun here. Hopefully this was productive for you guys as well. And we will see you on the next webinar, which we will again also announce on Twitter. So stay tuned for that. Thank you, and have a good day. Have a good night.